Hey everyone, it's Jim from Find Your Marathon, former 350-pound fat guy, now certified personal trainer here based in New Orleans. And the whole idea, if you're wondering what the channel is about, it's basically this. I used to weigh 350 pounds and now I don't. And what we're trying to do with the channel is help you kind of do the same thing and transform your life in a way that I was able to do. Right? As promised a couple weeks ago, what we're going to cover today are 7 very basic things that you really need to know as you're picking a nutrition program and you're transitioning towards trying to eat a little bit better, maybe exercising a little bit more, right? So, and this is really, really critical, and I'll tell you why. If you don't get the nutrition part of what you're trying to do down, you cannot be successful. So if you think about these 7 principles or rules and you start applying them as you're trying to find something that works for you, then you're going to be much more successful. Because the one thing I know is this. Look, there are a lot of things that we should do and not do when it comes to nutrition, right? There's a ton of information out there. It is literally a multi-billion-dollar, industry. The biggest things, if you do the big things right when it comes to nutrition, you're going to be incredibly successful. If you learn how to be consistent with your nutrition, you're going to be incredibly successful. You might not have fast, sexy weight loss. It might not be the 90-day transformation that you were looking for that's on the DVDs or on Instagram, but I promise you it's going to be way better than anything else you're going to do out there. You're going to spend way less money trying to find it, and you certainly don't have to spend money on expensive supplements or other nonsense to kind of get there. And that's really why we're trying to help. There's so much bad information out there. And when you're really, really big, it's really, really easy to get hopeless and think, this will never work for me. I am a special snowflake. I'm telling you, I love you, but you're not that special, right? I used to tell myself the same story. And what I did and what I learned over the years through a tremendous amount of trial and error is that if I did these big things right, these 7 things that I'm talking about, I will always not only be able to lose my weight, right, fit it in my life, enjoy food, which I still do, right, but the results I got were better than I could have ever possibly imagined, right? That's the thing to keep in mind, number 1. If you can't do whatever diet you want forever, right? If you just feel like it's, and I don't want to pick on Whole30, but it's even got like a built-in termination divorce date in its name. It's a 30-day program. It is highly restrictive. Generally, about after a week, most people kind of give it up, right? Or they happen to get through the 30 days, they get off it after 30 days and they gain all their weight, right? If you can't live with whatever diet or nutrition plan you are trying to do, I'm just telling you, it's not going to work. And this doesn't matter if it's vegan, doesn't matter if it's vegetarian, it could be an ideal protein, it could be, it could be ketogenic, it could be anything, low carb, old school Atkins, any diet on the diet spectrum. If you can't stick with it forever, or at least feel like you can do it for a long time, then don't do it. It's not sustainable, and that is a huge part of being successful. The one thing I know is this: it's really hard to lose weight. I would never lie to you about that. But you know what's harder? Keeping your weight off. So rule number 1, always, always, always pick something that you can do forever. Diet, nutrition, principle, rule, whatever you want to call it, number 2. Does it tell you how much you eat matters? Right now, I know this sounds like a really simple thing. Believe it or not, a lot of people are under the misconception that when you are a vegan or a vegetarian or ketogenic or low carb or whatever, anything you have in between, that as long as you restrict carbohydrates, you can eat however much you want. Or as long as you don't eat, meat or animal products or oil, that you can eat however much you want. Now, I hate to be the guy that bursts your bubble, but there is no good nutrition plan out there that's going to let you eat unlimited amounts of bacon all day or potato chips because they're vegan or because they're low carbohydrate or they're low fat or whatever. Portion control matters. And I heard this a few weeks ago and I heard it put this way, and I'm going to kind of steal it, right? On some very basic level, every good diet or nutrition plan is an energy equation, right? In order to lose weight, you got to be in a caloric deficit. Now, you can do that in a number of different ways. Obviously, exercise is going to play a role in there, but on some big level, if you eat too much of anything, you're going to gain weight. And I'll make it real simple for you, right? So let's say we had 5,000 calories of broccoli, and my resting metabolic rate somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to 2,200 a day, right? Because I'm 180 pounds, I have a pretty active job, work out a lot, whatever, right? If I ate 5,000 calories of broccoli a day, guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna gain weight, right? That's bad. Conversely speaking, if I had 500 calories of king cake, and everybody who lives around Louisiana or the Southeast kind of knows what I'm talking about, right? Which is like this much king cake. Guess what's going to happen? If I did that and drink water all day, I would lose weight. Now on one of these, I'm going to be in the bathroom literally all day and probably miserable because nobody likes that much broccoli. On the other one, I'm literally going to be starving 30 minutes later and losing a lot of muscle mass and having no energy and all sorts of the bad things that come from that deep of a caloric restriction, right? But it is the extreme example of something that's really, really good for you, right? And something that's really, really not good for you. And if you have them in different amounts, you're going to get completely different results. So how much you eat matters. If any nutrition plan you are looking at, if any fad diet you're checking out, or if you're just curious and you see that it says you can eat however much of this that you want, no, you can't do that one. So that's rule number 2. Okay, rule number 3 on the how do I pick a nutrition or diet that's going to work for me spectrum, right? Will the plan that you're trying to do allow you to live your life and still kind of do it, right? And here's an easy example, because a lot of us are parents, right? If you're a parent and let's say you're trying to do a really, really restrictive nutrition program where you can't have any junk food in the house, you can't, you eat out a lot, you're going to get some fast food, you're having to eat all over the place, there's constantly little things that kids eat around, or you're super, super busy, right, with work as an executive or as a mom or as a whatever, right? Your food options, if you can't eat like this every day, if you can't still live and enjoy your life, and you're on some sort of nutrition plan that requires you to do something that is completely out of your comfort zone and what kind of fits into the box that is you can't do it, right? And one great way to think about it is this. So we live in New Orleans, right? New Orleans is one of the greatest cities in America. We also are known for this little party that we throw for about a month every year called Mardi Gras, right? It is incredibly hard to get through Mardi Gras and say, I'm not going to have a piece of king cake, or I'm never going to have a drink, or I'm never going to have a good meal, right? Or I'm never going to have a daiquiri, or I'm never going to do this. You know what happens every time you say you're never going to do something ever again? Your mind immediately wants to do it. So if you're picking some plan that you just can't deal with day to day because there's too much temptation around, because it's too hard to find food, because of whatever, don't do it. Rule number 3, whatever you're doing, you still have to be able to enjoy life a little bit, or else you're not going to want to do it. Now food goes from being fuel and something we enjoy to being punishment, right? So that's rule number 3. All right, rule number 4, to pick a nutrition plan principle to kind of live by, and this one's really, really easy. Does it make sense? So if you're out there and you're on the internet, or you had a girlfriend that was like, I read about this diet called the cabbage soup diet, where you literally eat cabbage soup all day, and you do that for 3 days, and then every now and then you have a piece of meat with it, and then it goes like this, and you're just thinking to yourself, I'm like, oh my God, this sounds crazy. If it sounds crazy, it's crazy. You ever heard of the cookie diet? You know what the cookie diet is? It's not actual cookies. It's sort of healthy cookies that you get. You eat like 3 of them. They're each 300 calories. And then you don't eat crap else for the rest of the day. Yeah, sure, it's a cookie. But come on. There's not a human alive that's a grown adult that can live on 900 calories a day and actually do that long term. If the plan that you're looking at sounds crazy, it's crazy. You know, you kind of know it when you see it. No, you can't eat all the bacon you want. You can't have all the eggs you want. You can't just eat meat and cheese all day and expect to lose weight. Again, I wish it did. Look, if they had the Chinese food diet, I'd do it, but they don't. So if the plan sounds crazy, just like if you're buying supplements, you know, and they're like, well, if you just drink a cup of this, then you can literally, they're fat blockers and you can do whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want. Sounds crazy, right? Yeah, if it walks like a duck and it sounds like a duck, it's a duck. In this case, if it sounds crazy, yeah, it's crazy. Stay away from those. So that is rule number 4. Rule number 5 when you're picking a nutrition plan. Principle number 5. This one should go without saying. Is it healthy? Right? Is it healthy? And here's the one I love, right? And this weight loss plan works every time. So I love the show Naked and Afraid, right? They drop naked people out in the middle of the forest, they leave you for 21 days, you know, and poof, they pick you up and it's all over and it's awesome. There's all sorts of shenanigans. And what happens during this time is that everybody, even the skinniest people, lose weight, or even the biggest people will lose weight during Naked and Afraid. And you know why? Because you're not eating anything. You're hardly drinking water, you're hardly eating anything. They lose tons of weight. They also lose tons of lean muscle mass, right? There's all sorts of health problems that are always associated with it afterwards. But you know, they're a good-looking corpse, right? So it's not healthy. And that's one of those things you kind of always read about. If you read about this a few years ago, you probably heard that everyone that did the extreme weight loss shows, right, like Biggest Loser, these people are exercising for 5 or 6 hours a day. They're on a really, really calorically restricted nutrition plan. And guess what happens? Inevitably, yeah, they lose a lot of weight, but there are a lot of health and joint problems that are associated with it. And they're almost always gaining their weight back, right? So if the plan that you're picking, you're just like, you know, and I hate picking on bacon because I love bacon, but it's the easiest one. No, you can't, you know, having 2 pounds of bacon a day is not good for you, right? A little bacon every day, pretty decent, right? Or overloading on as many vegetables as you want. No, that's not good for you. Mac and cheese is vegan. Well, no, not cheese. It's not vegan, but it's certainly vegetarian, right? Guess what? You can't eat all the mac and cheese that you want because that's not good for you. Your body needs certain things in certain proportions. And if your doctor kind of looks at it and says, yeah, no, this is just not healthy, if it makes you feel bad, I mean, look, forget what nutritional research says for just a second, because in a lot of people's defense, nutrition science is a relatively new phenomenon, and we don't know the long-term effects of a lot of things, and a lot of things changed over the course of the years, right? But just think about this. If you eat a meal or you follow this diet and you feel bad for more than like a couple days, or for the whole time you're on it, you're just miserable and cranky and tired and blah, yeah, no, it's not. That's your body's way of saying it's not healthy and not good for us. When we eat well, we should feel really good. We should feel like we have more energy. When we're exercising, we should feel really good and like we're refreshed, not like we want to die. Nobody will stick with anything if you feel bad. And if it's not good for you, you're gonna feel bad. I hate making it that simple, but it really is that simple. So that's rule number 5. If what you're doing just on its face appears to be unhealthy, then don't do it. So rule number 6, when you're trying to pick a diet or nutrition plan, is really, really simple to kind of grasp, right? When you're doing this, I want you to ask yourself a question. Are you restricting anything? If the plan that you're looking at is asking you to restrict anything beyond just trying to eat a little bit less, especially if we're starting from a place where we're obese or morbidly obese, or we're trying to lose a tremendous amount of weight, I would encourage you to try something else, right? And I know this sounds confusing because, yeah, we talk about how we are doing keto in our house, right? I've been at it for about 10 weeks. Daphne's been at it for about 5. And the reason that I'm doing it is for performance. And there is a gigantic difference between trying to eat healthy and trying to eat for like peak performance, right? Those are two different things. So that's rule number 1. But the other thing I'm going to tell you is that as I lost the vast majority of the 180 pounds that I lost most of it because I ate a little bit less over time. And as I got smaller, obviously I ate less, right? Because I needed less. And I moved around a lot more. I exercised, and I did this consistently. But I didn't put myself in a position where I was thinking, you know, man, I really love Chinese food, but I guess I could just never have Chinese food again. You know what happens the minute you tell yourself you're never going to do something again? Like the little rebellious child inside your mind starts to come out. Like your inner 12-year-old starts to work its way out. And you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this, right? And you start thinking about it, and it gets in your head, and next thing you know, you're like, man, if I don't go to the Chinese buffet today, I'm going to die, right? And I know that sounds crazy to anybody that's normal, but you know, if you're watching this video, you're probably not a normal person when it comes to food anyway. So you don't want to restrict things. You don't want to be on a restrictive diet where you can never have meat again or never have carbohydrates again. Anytime I am working with any weight loss client that is trying to lose a tremendous amount of weight, I have found by far the people that are long-term successful are doing this in a way where they can eat a little bit of everything, right? Now, do we have to learn to make some better choices along the way? Absolutely, right? Do we have to learn to make even better bad choices? Yes. But do we ever say we're never going to have dessert again, or we're never going to have pizza, or you can pick, you know, chips and salsa, whatever your vice is, and I have all of them, right? We never say we're never going to do that again, because if we get that restrictive, especially early on in your weight loss, you never get the chance to be successful doing it, because you can't stack up consistency that way. You don't want to pick anything that sends you back to square one if you have a bad day, right? And you need to understand that that's part of the process here. So if the nutrition plan you're looking at is asking you to restrict anything, then okay, great. Let's move on to the next thing. So that's rule number 6. All right, and the final thing to kind of think about when you're picking your nutrition plan or diet that you want to lose to start losing weight, and this is rule number 7, right? Not 6, number 7 is simply this. And it's really, you got to be really honest with yourself here, right? Does it fit who you are? And here, look, think about it this way, right? So let's say you're of a religious persuasion that doesn't let you eat meat, right? Or beef or something of that nature. Well, then yeah, doing something like ketogenic or paleo, gonna be really hard for you to do, right? That's a very extreme example, but some nutrition plan that calls for a lot of animal protein and animal fat, not gonna fit you if that goes against the grain of what you believe, right? If you travel a lot, or you work in, and I see this all the time, people that work in restaurants, and so they're eating restaurant food all the time. We can't do a lot of meal prep if we work in a restaurant. So we have to really kind of be very, very mindful of, okay, cool, how can I eat in a restaurant literally every day and still lose weight? It's harder, sure, but it's absolutely possible, right? How do you learn to eat if you're a busy executive and you don't know how to get snacks in? Okay, cool, we got to find some snacks that are going to kind of fit your life and fit what you do. And that's the biggest lesson to take out of this. If the plan that you're looking at, you're just like, man, this looks like it's hard. I'm on the road too much, or I work too much, or I have to eat at restaurants too much, or I don't have time to meal prep, and I have to do this. You know, what we tend to do is we tend to use those things as excuses and crutches to just say, well, I guess I can just never eat well. I don't care who you are, you can always find a way to eat well. And notice the language is really intentional. It's not perfect. Nobody eats perfect, and you need to get that out of your mind. So really think about, like, okay, cool, how can I fit what I'm trying to do or something into my life that fits who I am. You know why a lot of people like ketogenic? Because they like meat and it tastes good, right? And, you know, that's one of the reasons I like it, because I like meat. I'm not a huge vegetable guy. I have to make myself eat vegetables. I do because I need it, right? But I have to make myself eat it, but I can get full on fats and proteins, and I love it, and it's great. A lot of people love vegetarian or vegan for the same reason. They love fruits and vegetables. They love grains. There are all these great things that are in it. And so they've learned that kind of fits them, and then they eat a little bit less, and hopefully they move around a little bit more, and they tend to lose weight. So if you think about these 7 principles or rules and you start applying them as you're trying to find something that works for you, then you're going to be much more successful. So keep watching the videos. We're going to be posting some workouts very, very soon. Things that you can do in your house. Things you can do with minimum equipment. Things you can do with a lot of equipment, right? And we're talking maybe like a $25 to $50 investment, right? So we're going to be posting some of those coming up pretty soon. Certainly, if you like the channel, please, by all means, subscribe. Also, click the bell, get the notifications, so that way you know when we're posting something else. Also, please follow us on Facebook at Find Your Marathon. Also, on Instagram at Find Your Marathon. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you very soon.